So we're at the cottage and I'm always having family around and we love playing games and we have tons of scrap wood and we love to reuse scrap wood when we can. So today I decided we should build a cornhole, the beanbag toss game. What you'll need today is a flat piece of plywood, some 2x4s, some thin strips of wood, maybe 1x2, impact drill, a skill saw, jigsaw, a tape measure, chalk line, pencil, a tin of paint, and a handful of screws. First things first, we're going to take our flat piece of plywood and we are going to cut it into 2 pieces to make the top of the cornhole. 44, and then this is what a chalk line is for, one of my favorite things to do. And this is kind of like magic. Pull it up. Now that we've measured, let's cut this into 2 pieces. Now that we have our 2 pieces, these are going to be the top of our cornhole board. Next, we're going to cut this piece of wood so that we can frame up the board. First, we're going to take the measurements lengthwise, and that is 42.5. We're going to want to cut in a straight line, and to make sure we're cutting in a straight line, we're going to draw a straight line. So you're going to take your square, which looks like a triangle, but it's called a square, and put it on one end, and that's at 90, so it'll make a nice straight line for you. So I'm going to use my square again just to make sure that I cut straight, because there's always human error here. To avoid having to use your measuring tape again, we're going to just measure another one the same length. We know that this is straight already. Now that we have our 2 lengthwise, we're going to measure the distance between each of these. What the measurement that we're going to be taking right now is from the inside of one board to the inside of the next board on the other side. 20.5. Now that we have these measurements, let's cut our next pieces of wood. This is where your drill is going to come in handy. We are going to start building the frame for our cornhole board. And we are pre-drilling this because we are working with thin pieces of wood, and if you pre-drill before you screw, you can avoid the wood splitting. Now that we have all the holes, you're going to use your impact driver and we're going to screw the frame together. Now that we have our frame ready to go, we're going to screw our flat piece of plywood on top. So the next step we're going to do is we are going to make the cornhole. Today we're going to be using our tin of paint that we're going to be painting with later because it's nice, circular, looks about the same size of a cornhole. First things first, we're going to make sure that we're going to put the cornhole in the same spot on both things. So we're going to take measurements and we are going to mark the middle. So the middle will be 11. Measure your paint can so you know where the center of it is going to lie within your board. So we're going to measure 3 3/8 from our center line. And 3 3/8 the other way. That will be our circle. Now that we have where our circle is going to land, we're going to measure 7 inches from the top of the cornhole. And that is how far we're going to make our cornhole from the top of our board. So now you can take your pencil and draw a line all the way around. There you go. You have your cornhole. Now you're going to be using your jigsaw and we're going to cut this out. You got yourself a cornhole. Now it's time to move on to the legs. We are going to make these 7 inches long each. Put these in place and now we're going to use our drill and screw them in. Alright, that's the first one done and now we need 2 of them to play the game, so let's repeat the process and start all over again. So now that we've made our 2 cornholes, I'm going to call in my trusty assistants and we're going to put a coat of paint on these and let them dry, and we'll be playing cornhole by this afternoon. paint's dry, so time to play.